It's the Movie Mom, also film critic for RogerEbert.com, Nell Minow. I love talking to you. I love talking movies. So
Yeah, I know you do. You're a big movie fan.
I am huge movie fan. And I have thousands of movies on DVD, even VHS, Blu-ray, Laserdisc. I got them all over the house. And I love You know what I saw yesterday? My wife and I were watching Fury with Spencer Tracy. You ever see that movie?
Oh, I certainly have. Yeah, that's an amazing movie.
It is, and it was on TCM a few weeks ago, and I DVR'd it because I knew I'm going to want to watch it. And I just love even the old movies are so good, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about the Academy Awards last night. First of all, before we get to any awards, overall, the show.
I thought it was one of the best Oscar shows that they've ever done. And I'm going to say something, I may get drummed out of the core for this, but I thought one of the smartest moves they made was only having the one song that everybody knew was going to win, because the other songs are not that good. And, that's the one category every year where I think they really blow it. They have a lot of songs that are nominated every year that are like sung over the credits that have nothing to do with the movie. And everybody knew Golden was going to win. Everybody wanted to see it performed. Nobody cared about anything else. And they said, you want to hear the other songs? Here's a QR code. You can watch it. I thought that was very smart.
Was that the K-pop song?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a little out of my age. I don't think they're looking at me when they make the movie K-pop as their target audience.
You want to know what? It's an excellent, excellent movie. I thought it was not going to be that great, and I didn't watch it when it was first on Netflix. And a friend of mine encouraged me, and I've now seen it 2-3 times, and I think it's a terrific movie. They just announced they're making a sequel, so I'm excited about that.
Good line from Conan to the president of Netflix in the audience. This is what a theater looks like.
Theater.
That was a good line. He's an excellent host, Conan. He keeps it moving.
He did a great job. I love that opening sequence, and I hope everybody stayed to see the little bit after the last award, because that was very funny. That was based on, of course, a famous scene in the Oscar winner, One Battle After Another. And just a little side note, the guy who was murdering Conan at the end, spoiler alert, was Jim Downey, who was Conan's first mentor and is the subject of a terrific documentary that just came out that's on streaming. He was a Saturday Night Live writer for decades and is responsible for a lot of the ones that are the most memorable in the history of Saturday Night Live. He's done a lot of really funny stuff, and it was great to see the two of them together, and I thought that was the cherry on the sundae.
What I also liked was the Oscars started at 6 o'clock Central Time. That was great because they were over a little after 9:30. Perfect. When I was growing up on the East Coast, they used to start at 8 o'clock at night. They weren't over until midnight.
Yeah, I thought that was another very, very good choice. I know it's very early for the people on the West Coast, but that's okay. They can all go to In-N-Out Burger after and party and have a great time. I thought that was great. I thought this was the best in memorandum segment that they've ever had.
Yes, in memoriam,
In memoriam. It was so gracefully handled. Rachel McAdams talking about Diane Keaton and Catherine O'Hara. Billy Crystal, beautiful tribute to his best friend, Rob Reiner. And I love the way that they kept the wife, Michelle Singer-Reiner, in there. Of course, Barbara, as always, talking about herself, not about the person she's supposed to be talking about. But nevertheless, it was a very tender-hearted tribute to Robert Redford.
Yeah, she wound up singing The Way We Were, and it was very good.
I cried. I thought it was wonderful.
Talking about herself.
I thought that was just a beautiful, beautiful segment, and I was really, really happy about it. And also, we have to talk about how, for the first time in 98 years, they created this award for the casting directors.
Yes.
And the most interesting part of that was not necessarily who won. It was the description of the process and how important the casting director is in really giving us the movie that we want to see. And I thought that was, and it was interesting to me that 4 of the 5 nominees were women. So loved that.
Yeah, here's another thing. When you see, and I've seen this for years, especially in Woody Allen movies, it's always a woman who's the casting director. Always. Do women have a special touch that men just don't have when it comes to that? Because they're usually always women.
It seems to be.
I mean,
Yeah.
rarely do you see a man.
If you want to see a great documentary, Casting By is the name of the documentary, and it talks about the role of the casting director, and you'll see some very, very early footage of some of the stars like Robert De Niro, who would not have ever been in a movie if it hadn't been for somebody saying, I believe in this guy. I know he's a little unusual, but you got to cast him.
What about that mole on his face? We'll make it work. We'll make it work. Don't worry about that.
We'll make it work. Everybody's going to want one after they see him.
Yeah. But I noticed that they had one guy who was the casting amongst the nominees, but it's usually always women. I guess guys don't have that sensitivity to pick out the right people for the movies. Let me go over some of my notes here. The opening bit, I said, like casting directors. In memoriam, you mentioned Rachel McAdams. I didn't know that was her introducing Diane Keaton. You know why? They kept the audience applause so loud over the announcer, you couldn't hear what he was saying half the time. They just wanted to make it sound exciting, so they had him, and you couldn't understand the poor guy. Anyway, so when the women, Randy something or other used to be she was loud. You heard her talking over everybody. This guy, you couldn't hear. Yeah. Start time. Here's something they should do. And I feel bad. These people finally win an Academy Award. It's their big shot at, celebrity. They'll probably never get it again. A lot of these people, the smaller awards, they'll probably never get it again. And they start making their speeches. All of a sudden, the music plays, and they take the camera away. I feel bad for them, but you can't go on that long. It's boring. You're thanking everybody under the sun. I understand you have to thank the producers, the money people. Then you start, I want to thank my 4 kids. I want to thank my wife, my mother-in-law, who was always there for me. Oh, and of course, my dog
my high school English teacher.
Yeah, my vet who took care of my dog. Come on already. And that's why you get cut off. So here's my plan. Get together with all your people before the Oscars, and in case we win, if it's a long shot and we're going to win, here's the plan. I will talk for 10 seconds. Everybody gets 10 seconds, especially when they bring 6 people up there. I understand that, but unless you're an actor, you're not a professional performer. I think they get very flustered. You can see that some of them had made that plan, and still they got cut off. And I think maybe when it moves to YouTube, they can handle that better. They tried to do it once where they just said to all the nominees, give us your list and we'll run it as a crawl across the bottom of the screen when you're saying thank you. And nobody liked that. But I didn't think that was such a bad idea. Maybe when it goes to YouTube, they'll have sort of an auxiliary where, after they walk off, they don't go back to their seat. They go to the press room where the press can ask some questions about their award and their film. And I think maybe that YouTube can have a separate stream for that, and we can hear more from these people after they calm down a little bit. And I would love to hear the part where they're asking them questions. Or we could tase them. When time's up, hit them with a taser. Yeah, all right. I was about to they do a belly flop on stage. The movie mom, Nell Minow, joining us this morning, also from RogerEbert.com, talking about the Academy Awards last night. It was a nice show. And by the way, it was only a few minutes late over, which is really amazing because those shows used to go over, remember, a lot. So they kept it on time.
Well, as you just said, they cut people off ruthlessly.
And they don't broadcast all the awards like they used to. There used to be a lot more awards broadcast. They got rid of some of them.
I thought it was going to throw off the timing that there was a tie. That's, I think, only the 4th time that's happened in the history of the Oscars.
Good line, by the way. The longest presentation was the Short Subject Award. It took the most time to present. What do you think about the presenters? Some of them are real cold fish up there. I mean, they for actors, they really don't have it together when they do this.
This is the one area where the Tony Awards really outshine the Oscars because those are theater performers, and they're much, much more comfortable on stage performing live than movie actors. And so you really see a difference there. Certainly, one of the highlights of the presenters was the cast of Bridesmaids.
Yes, they were very good. Yeah.
They were clearly having a blast, and that was a very cute little sketch that they did, reading letters from the audience, and I thought they did a good job. It was fun to see Bill Pullman and Louis Pullman. They didn't give them very much to say to each other, but it's great to see the 2 generations. It was nice to see Ewan McGregor and Nicole Kidman. And I just have to say a couple of words about the dresses because we saw some really spectacular ones last night. And I think probably the most spectacular was Rose Byrne and Anne Hathaway, who both had beautiful dresses with flowers all over them. I thought they're just gorgeous.
Now,
I did not like Demi Moore's dress at all. She looked like she was in a vampire picture.
What? which you mentioned before Demi Moore? Who were you talking about with the beautiful dresses?
Anne Hathaway and Rose Byrne had the most beautiful dresses.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, sometimes I couldn't hear what the announcer was saying when he's introducing them because.
Yes, the sound quality was not good with the announcer who was in London. Am I right about that?
He had the British accent, but the volume wasn't high enough.
Yeah. Matt Berry, who is a wonderful actor, very, very funny, but he was doing the announcements from London. I thought that was a little crazy.
I had to keep playing it back to hear who some of these people were. I couldn't understand the names because it was so. Not that he was mispronounced; it was so low in volume.
Now I knew Jessie Buckley was going to win because she won all the preliminary awards. You know, if you want to have success with your office Oscar voting pool, then what you want to do is watch the preliminary awards because if somebody wins the actor award, used to be called the SAG award, the Screen Actors Guild Award, it's the same people voting for the Oscars. So or the same thing with the DGA, the Directors Guild, the Writers Guild. If you look at who are the winners of those preliminary awards, the Critics' Choice Awards, which I vote in, that's always a good indicator as well, although Michael B. Jordan did not win there. Then you're a good bet. So everybody knew that Jessie Buckley was going to win, and I'm happy that she did, and she gave one of the best speeches of the night. But if it were me, I would have voted for Kate Hudson, not only for her, in my opinion, excellent Wisconsin accent. She said her nanny growing up was from Wisconsin, and she borrowed the accent from that, but also just such a performance of such vulnerability, such joie de vivre, such joy in the performing. Her chemistry with Hugh Jackman was off the charts, and that was probably my favorite performance of the year. And she was very cute in the award show last night, interacting with the little baby Yoda.
I always wonder how. Was that Kate Hudson? Who was acting with the Yoda character?
Yeah, that was,
I didn't recognize her.
Kate Hudson.
I didn't recognize her. I always wonder, when they lose their accents. Now, I have a very thick New York accent, but you don't hear it a lot on the radio because I control it. But when I go back home, then it comes back, we start talking about stuff like that to my wife when I start talking.
Right.
And I can control it. And I always wonder, how do they control the Australian accents? How do they do it? But, I do it every day because if I was to talk naturally, I'd sound like I'm from the Bronx, which I am. So I would sound like that. So I try to control it. We're going to get
that is actually one of the things that really fascinates me the most is people that can do accents. And Jessie Buckley, for example, is Irish, and
yes.
She had an English accent in Hamnet, where she got the Oscar.
Yeah, I can only do where I come from and just the Midwestern sound to get rid of it. When I lived down south, I couldn't do the y'all. It didn't come out right when I lived in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to talk about all the actors coming up in a few minutes here. Trying to think something. Now, the Frankenstein surprised me, winning a lot of awards last night. I didn't see that coming.
Well, I was not surprised that it got Best Costume Design. We saw Frankenstein at a film festival. So we saw it in a theater, whereas most people saw it on Netflix. And the costume designer was there and did a Q&A following the film. And she was so interesting, so spectacular. I was not surprised that she won. And the same thing with the production design. It was just amazing. I was happy to see, by the way, Formula One, which I thought was just a wildly entertaining film and a lot of fun. That one got some technical awards because their special effects and sound were excellent.
What about, what's his name? The guy from the ping pong movie. I can't think of his name all of a sudden.
Timothy Chalamet. Timothy Chalamet.
That movie got shut out, didn't it?
That's all right with me. I hated that movie.
Okay, that's good then. All right. Let's make sure I'm on your side. Don't want to be at odds with you.
Okay. Okay.
I thought that Sinners, and I didn't see it, but from whatever it was, I thought it would clean up and take everything. And it didn't. It took a couple of major awards, but it didn't clean up like I thought it would.
It did set the record for the most nominations, which gave it the opportunity to have the most losses, but it got some very big awards. It got screenplay, it got best actor, it got best cinematography. The first woman ever, 98 years, first time a woman cinematographer won an award, and it deserved all of that. But remember, it's a genre film. It's got vampires in it. The Oscars does not award vampire movies big awards.
One of my favorite segments is a couple of times a year we talk to Nell Minow, the movie mom, a film critic for RogerEbert.com, and reviews movies as the movie mom. And this is your Christmas. The Academy Awards.
Well, it's my Super Bowl, so they call it Mommy's Super Bowl.
It's your Super Bowl. And let's go over the list of winners, okay? Because we haven't done that yet.
Okay.
Let's start off with the big one. Best Picture, one battle after another. Worth it? Good. Was it worthy of Best Picture?
Yeah, I think it was. It got Best Picture, it got Best Screenplay, both for Paul Thomas Anderson, who's been nominated many times but has never won before. And it got Best Supporting Actor with Sean Penn, who, of course, wasn't there to pick it up. His third Oscar, by the way. I thought it deserved it. You know, he took a book that was extremely difficult to adapt, and he made it into something that was both about the past, about the future, about the present, and had some heart to it, had some compelling performances, had some very high satire, had some action, one of the great chase scenes in all the history of movies, and put that all together in a surprising but coherent whole. I thought that was a remarkable movie. Very, very well done. I don't know how many more times I'm going to watch it, but as I've said to you before, there are two scales in looking at a movie. There's good or bad, and there's also watchable and not watchable. There are a lot of movies that are truly great, but you're not going to watch them again. Like If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, which Rose Byrne was nominated for Best Actress from that. I'm never watching it again, but I have to admit it was a great movie. So, yeah, I thought One Battle After Another, very good choice for Best Picture.
Bad title. I thought it was a bad title.
I don't know. It sort of it grabs your attention. You're sort of like, what? Where? What is going on?
Yeah,
I thought it was great.
I thought that title might get people away. What's that?
In the audience, the best reactor of the night was Tiana Taylor from One Battle After Another. Even if you haven't seen the movie, you've probably seen the picture of her shooting an assault weapon when she's got this big pregnant belly. She was so excited about everybody who won. It was really fun to watch her.
Yeah, she was trying to grab people on the stage, and when you wear a dress like that, you got to be careful what you're doing with it.
Yeah, exactly. You could see everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, she was great. If you haven't seen her on Saturday Night Live, go back and watch it because she was great a couple of weeks ago on Saturday Night
Live. Let's see what else we got here. Best Director, Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another.
Yeah, and again, he's been nominated many times. He finally won. I still think Boogie Nights is probably his best film, but he did something very, very difficult. He put all of those different pieces together and made it all part of a very organic story, and I thought he did a great job with it, so good for him.
Okay, now the best actor was Michael B. Jordan from Sinners, but let's talk about some of the others. Leonardo DiCaprio, was he anything special, or did he just play Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie?
In my opinion, his best performance is probably in Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
As we know, he's a tremendously talented actor, going back to the Gilbert Grape movie, where it was phenomenal, and of course Titanic. I don't think The Revenant is his best movie, but he got the Oscar for that. He was great, playing very much against type in One Battle After Another, playing a schlubby guy who loves his daughter, but is really very ineffectual at everything, can't remember the password. So I thought he did a great job, but I'm happy with the selection of Michael B. Jordan.
Let's talk about Michael B. Jordan. I didn't see the movie Sinners yet, so deserve it?
He should get 2 Oscars. He played twin brothers, and that means not only was he creating 2 very distinct, different characters, Smoke and Stack are their names, but he's acting against, basically a tennis ball. We'll fill that in later. So I thought he did a tremendous job. He has been one of my favorite actors since he was a teenager, and so I really wanted him to win. That was one of the ones that mattered the most to me, and I was thrilled when he won.
Good. I got to see that movie. I can't wait to see it. Let's talk about Best Actress, Jessie Buckley from Ireland. She had a very nice, sweet Irish accent when she accepted her award last night.
She did, and that was the one that was a lock. She won every preliminary award, and so everybody knew that she was going to win. As I said, I would love to have seen Kate Hudson win. That was my favorite performance of last year. But Jessie Buckley was. I didn't love Hamnet the movie as much as many people did. It's the story, if you don't know. It's inspired by the real life story that Shakespeare may have been inspired to write Hamlet by the death of his child, and she plays the wife, and she's just terrific in the movie. By the way, she's also in playing the Bride of Frankenstein in The Bride, which just was released.
Oh, yes,
and
yeah.
She can do anything. She can sing, she can do comedy, and she was always going to win an Oscar. And I think this one was very, very well deserved. But there are a lot of good candidates in that category this year. It was a tough one.
Best Supporting Actor, the best sleazeball performance, Sean Penn. What a sleazewad he was in that movie.
Definitely.
That's one battle after another, by the way.
That was his third Oscar, by the way. He really put everything he had into it and was terrifying, and particularly at the end when he's been disfigured. I thought he was great in it. But that, the supporting categories are the ones that are the most difficult because Delroy Lindo from Sinners, I would love to have seen him win. There were Benicio del Toro from One Battle After Another, also really great. That was a very tough one. If I had to pick one, if I were voting in that, I would have a very hard time.
Yeah, Sean Penn, though, was such a sleazeball in the film. I don't know what he's like in real life, but he certainly portrayed it in that film.
He certainly is a humanitarian. I mean, the reason he wasn't there last night is that he's in Ukraine doing humanitarian work, so I give him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, and, the way they said it, he's not here, he didn't show up, so, it's not that he didn't show up, he's busy. He's doing something to help humankind.
Right.
All right, the Best Supporting Actress, Amy Madigan. See, I remember her as that cutesy actress from years and years ago. I was surprised when I saw her because, everybody gets old, I know that. But I was surprised when I saw her on stage.
She was incredible. And again, very unusual, very, very unusual for the Academy to give Oscars to what I'm going to say are genre films rather than prestige films. This was a horror movie, Weapons. And I normally don't go to horror movies, but I did see this one because I'd heard, and it is great. It is terrifying. It is great. She is the villain in it. If you saw Conan O'Brien all dressed up with the orange wig and the white makeup last night, he was not doing Chaperone. He was doing Amy Madigan as Aunt Grace in Weapons, and she is absolutely terrifying. She's the Wicked Witch of the West, crossed with Maleficent and Cruella de Vil. I mean, every bad lady in a scary film you've ever seen. So she was great in that.
Let's talk about the Best Animated Feature, K-Pop Demon Hunters. Now, I never saw any of these K-Pop things. I know they're extremely popular. I just never saw any of them.
They are, but it's important to remember that K-Pop Demon Hunters was made by Americans, and it certainly has a lot of Korean culture in it, but it's very, very accessible and a fantastic story. They announced this week that they're going to be doing a sequel. They are even talking about doing a live-action version or a stage version. It is very popular. If you look at YouTube, there are many, many videos there of parents saying, "Oh, no, my kids want me to watch K-Pop Demon Hunters." And then they're like, an hour later, the parent is standing on the sofa singing the song. The songs are all absolute bangers. They're just wonderful. I was very happy that it won Best Song. And it is a great, great story, really well done. And they were up against the heavy hitters. They were up against Disney. They were up against Pixar. And also the other non-U.S. animated films. Arco, very, very good. They were just terrific. All of them great. And that was a category where I'd seen all 5 of the films. And yet I also would have picked K-Pop Demon Hunters. It's a great movie.
Are you a voting member?
No, you have to be a filmmaker, not a film critic. So I vote in the Critics Awards like the Critics' Choice Awards and the Independent Awards.
No, I wasn't sure. You sound like you could vote.
Yeah.
You sound like one of those people. Talking to the movie mom, Nell Minow from RogerEbert.com, and also the movie mom, moviemom.com. You can check her reviews. You really liked, what's that movie out now with the H? I can't think of the name of it all of a sudden. Hoppers.
I loved Hoppers.
I know. You gave it 4 stars.
Terrific.
You gave it the top rating. I love when
did.
you gave top. That's all you need to say, stars. The New York Daily News used to review movies, and so did the New York Times. The New York Times, you had to read the review to find out if they liked it. With the Daily News, you could just check the stars. I mean, if they had 4 stars.
Well, as a critic, I support that because you want to know why it gets 4 stars because maybe it's for a reason that you don't like.
Yes, but I want to know fast. Is it any good? And I used to see the 2 stars. Not going to see it.
Yeah. Well, you can always go to Rotten Tomatoes. All my reviews are on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. Rotten Tomatoes became big, too. And, they're good. But, I like to see it for myself just to make sure. Okay, let's get on to some more movies here on the list. Best cinematographer. And this set a precedent, a new record. Talk about the best cinematographer.
Yeah, first time in 98 years that a woman has won the Best Cinematography Award.
That's hard to believe.
What I love is that Ryan Coogler, who started out making a wonderful movie with Michael B. Jordan called Fruitvale Station, that movie had a budget of about $25, and he made it look gorgeous, and he has kept all of those people with him. He works with the same people all the time, production designer, cinematographer, composers, and he really has built up a great community around himself. And what I loved about that was, and Ryan Coogler, whom I've interviewed, one of the sweetest, nicest, most sincere people that I've talked to. As soon as her name was called, he ran to the back of the theater, picked up her little boy, and brought him to the front so he could watch his mom accept the award, which I thought was just so sweet.
I thought that's what you said about me. The kindest, most sweetest person I ever talked to. Now I find out there's somebody else. Boy, you throw that compliment around like water, huh? Okay.
A lot of sweet people in the world.
All right, let's talk about.
That was really, really nice. It was great to see. It's great to see her win, and the cinematography is extraordinary in this film.
Now, when it comes to screenplays, best original, best adapted, Sinners, Ryan Coogler won, and so did Paul Thomas Anderson won. Yeah. What do these directors write their own movies too? That's a lot of work.
Sometimes. And actually, my favorite directors were the ones who wrote their movies. In the old days, Preston Sturges was one of my favorite. Billy Wilder, Some Like It Hot. You can't beat that. I like people who are writer-directors because they know words and they know how to bring the vision to life. So I think that's really great. It's interesting. Those 2 movies, Sinners and One Battle After Another, have been really the 2 front runners for the entire award season, and very unusually, they're both from the same studio. Normally, the studio puts on a full-out spread in favor of the movie that they're promoting, but Warner Brothers really was kind of stuck with the 2 front runners, and they couldn't really push one ahead of the other. So I love the fact that the Screenwriting Award splits between adapted screenplay, which Paul Thomas Anderson got based on a book, and original screenplay, just right out of the imagination of the writer, and that way both of them got awards, which I thought was really nice.
Now, originally for decades, they had 5 Best Picture nominees. And in the last few years, they changed to 10 because they had to put some popular movies in there. All these artsy-type movies were up for nominations that nobody ever heard of before, and therefore nobody watched the Academy Awards because they didn't have a dog in the race because they never saw the films. So they said, we're going to make it 10 and put 5 popular films in there so people now can root for their favorite popular film. What happened? Now they got 10 artsy movies in there again.
Yeah, that's right. Because I think that the Academy tends to vote for movies that are artistic achievements. I think they feel that it adds to their credibility. If they were going to give, the box office already gives the awards to the ones that are the most popular, but you're not going to see a Marvel movie getting Best Picture. You're just not. And so that's why we have movies that are nominated like Train Dreams. The one that's sort of anomaly of the 10 nominees this year was F1, the Formula One movie with Brad Pitt, which I loved. I thought this is why we buy popcorn. This is why we go to the movie theater. It was just a purely entertaining film. It was great to see it get some of the technical awards, which it really deserved. But it was surprising to see it in the nominees for Best Picture.
There was, let's see what else was on the list here. This is the short subjects, and people say, why are they doing that? Because the people who do short subjects put a lot of time, their own money into it, and a lot of years into these short subjects, and it's nice to get recognition. It is filmed. Remember, it's the Motion Picture Association of Arts and Sciences. So, I mean, that's an art form, short subject films, and they put a lot of money and work into them, so I'm glad to see they win. You ever notice there's a correlation between short subjects and the amount of people on stage and Best Picture, the amount of people on stage? Short subjects seem to have the most people on stage for some reason.
Well, those people, basically everybody who worked on the film is a producer, so they all get to go up on stage. But yeah, remember also that short subjects is where people start. The people that we may be seeing getting the big awards a few years from now. And by the way, I want to mention that one of the two films, because they had a tie for Best documentary short, is a very, very moving film about a photographer who takes pictures of the bedrooms of children who've been killed in school shooting incidents, and it's incredibly powerful. I was very happy to see it. The other film that tied with it, Singers, also a wonderful film. So yeah, do try to take a look at those. You're going to love them.
Do you see all these movies that were nominated?
Almost all of them. I missed a bunch of the foreign films this year, the international films, but I did see Sentimental Value, which was the winner for Best International Film, and it's a very touching story. And it was interesting to me that just a total coincidence. Two movies came out at the same time with the exact same plot. The other one was Jay Kelly with George Clooney, and they were both about middle-aged filmmakers with two estranged daughters, one who's not talking to them, one who's barely talking to them, and how they work that out. Stellan Skarsgård, of course, was nominated and for Best Supporting Actor. He was terrific in it. And so I didn't see all of the I saw Surat, which was nominated, which is like a real-life Mad Max. But I try to see as many of them as I can because, you know what, I try to see everything.
It sounds like a former radio employer I worked for. One was barely talking to me, the other didn't talk to me at all. So,
no.
Okay. All right, so let's real quickly now. It's moving to YouTube in a couple of years. I don't know how many years, but another 2 or 3 years. Moving to YouTube. A lot of people don't know how to work that on a lot of people don't have smart TVs. They just don't have them. And so, is it a good move or a bad move?
It's a little bit of both. Maybe there'll be no ads, which is always good, and maybe, as I said, they could have an ancillary one where people have more time to talk. The winners have more time to talk, and they'll be allowed to swear. The Independent Spirit Awards moved to YouTube, and there's a lot of swearing this year.
They did a takeoff on what it's going to look like on YouTube.
Yeah.
That was a funny bit with those commercials. Skip in 1, 2. The bits were very funny last night. I think every one of them hit right on.
They were very, very funny. Where they everything's going to be on vertical, and they'll just be cutting off both sides. Yeah,
that was good on your smartphone. And they used the scene from When Harry Met Sally.
Yes, which was very, very funny. And all you could see was Rob Reiner's mother in the back. Yeah.
You didn't see the actual thing going on the right. That was so good. Yeah, they did a great job on the Academy Awards. I watch it every time. I never miss it. And I got to watch it from start to finish. No phone calls. Phones get shut off. We don't deal with anybody. Nobody's allowed to talk to me while it's on. And in 2 years, that's going to be something. That's going to be the 100th anniversary. Yeah. Thank you very much. I love talking to you.
Love talking to you.
Nell Minow, hold on a second. Don't hang up. The Movie Mom from RogerEbert.com and MovieMom.com. Nell Minow, love talking to her.